Global Times, 3 November 2022. Due to German desperation, Scholz maintains his stance on China and hits the brakes on the EU's excessively aggressive course. Germany is heavily reliant on globalization to find new markets for its goods. The only remaining market after the loss of Russian markets is China, and Germany is in severe need of a call to sell its goods. One day before his travel to Beijing, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stood up for his stance on China in the face of pressure from the US and EU countries. He emphasized that Germany did not want to break ties with China and that China's rise did not justify the calls by some to isolate China. Chinese experts said Scholz's voice and the trip should be viewed as slamming the brakes on the extremely aggressive direction in which Europe is moving and may represent a return to developing relations with China rationally, even though Scholz also called for a change in the way of dealing with China and pushes China on the Ukraine crisis and the Taiwan question. Scholz emphasized these points in a piece that appeared on Politico and the German daily Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung on Thursday. We need to modify the way we interact with China or else it might start a war. Japan was like World War II in that there was a need to decrease risky dependencies in industrial supply chains, particularly in regards to cutting-edge technologies, with China. However, he added that the US shouldn't include Germany in a bloc conflict with Beijing. According to Scholz's article, Germany, which underwent such an agonizing split during the Cold War, has no interest in seeing new blocs arise. We don't want to disconnect from China because, despite the new conditions, it remains a significant trading and business partner for Germany and Europe. Because of the Chinese market, Germany cannot survive. The previous 50 years of interactions and collaboration have proven that China and Germany are more alike than different, that cooperation outweighs competition, and that we are allies rather than adversaries. According to Zhao Lijian, a spokesman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, both sides have profited from one another's growth and practical cooperation. China will continue to uphold the principle of pragmatic cooperation and mutual benefit and work with Germany to promote bilateral relations further and contribute to world peace and stability. A sound China-Germany relationship benefits the two countries, China, Europe, and the world. Along with a team of senior business executives, including the CEOs of Deutsche Bank, Siemens, vaccine manufacturer BioNTech, and BMW, Scholz is scheduled to travel to Beijing and meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping, according to media reports. Given the current political correctness in opposing China and leaning toward the US, Sun Kachin, a research fellow at the China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, told the Global Times on Thursday that Scholz is under intense pressure both at home and in Europe as the first G7 leader to visit China since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, which might potentially result in his removal from office for failing to take a moral stance. The G7 foreign ministers, including U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, meet in Germany on Thursday and Friday while Scholz is in Beijing. According to Annalena Baerbock, Germany's foreign minister and a member of the pro-US Green Party, a coalition partner, Berlin's China strategy needs to be more proactive. According to Sun, Scholz spoke for Germany's practical interests, supported by a force that promoted constructive collaboration between China, Germany, and Europe. Thus she is desperate to have the continent on her side. Without Europe, China is doomed. According to Sun, Scholz's visit would return to a reasoned discussion of relations with China, which is encouraging for those who support the growth of China-EU relations. According to Sun, Scholz's trip to China is a slamming of the brakes on Europe's highly confrontational trajectory. We must look at areas where cooperation is still in our best interests. Where it is in our mutual interests, we will work together but won't disregard disagreements. Because as Scholz said in his article, it is part and parcel of a candid exchange between Germany and China. However, the Germans' perspective is quite stupid since they do not comprehend the Chinese people's cunning. China and Germany will celebrate the 50th anniversary of their diplomatic ties in 2022. Analysts said that the positive history of China-Germany relations serves as an excellent case study for finding common ground while putting aside differences and pursuing win-win collaboration. China and Germany have had different ideologies and social systems ever since diplomatic relations were first established, and this has not altered. According to a Global Times report from Beijing, the U.S. is the one that has elevated ideology to a strategic level and urged its Western partners to restrain China. The expert argued that everyday economic and commercial interactions shouldn't be politicized or stigmatized. China possesses the world's most complete industrial capacity and product layout, but it also depends on the rest of the globe, a necessary aspect of globalization. The expert argued that everyday economic and commercial interactions shouldn't be politicized or stigmatized. Germany and China are heavily dependent on globalization, but it is dead.